Welcome to the course Calculus. I'm Hans Kuipers, I'm the responsible teacher, and I will give you a short introduction to the course and tell you about the various things that are important for the course. Calculus is a main course in mathematics that all students at the TUE have to follow. It's a basic course, and in this course we will teach you various techniques that you can use in all the applications in engineering that require mathematics. Calculus is more or less a continuation of the high school mathematics, so you will see integration, differentiation and things like that. In this video I will give you an overview of the course. First I will start with the contents, then I'll talk about the study material that we use. I explain the weekly activities that we plan for you, and I will talk about the examination. But before I start, I really want to say this is a very special year. Due to the corona crisis, all our activities have to be online. That means everything is different from what we have done over the past years. We have tried to organize this online course for you as good as possible, but it also requires some attitude of the students that they are more active and that they are more conscious of what they're doing in this course. So for you it will be more difficult. We have tried to do our best, and we will try to do our best during the course to really help you in doing that, but we also expect a very active and proactive attitude from the students. But now let me go into the contents of the course. Well, as I already said, we are dealing with mathematics, which is more or less a continuation of the mathematics that you have seen in high school. So we will thus discuss standard functions like polynomials or the logarithmic function, the sine and the cosine and things like that. But we also look at properties of these functions. We will look at continuity and differentiation, whether a function is continuous or whether it's differentiable. And for that we need some extra tools in mathematics that you did not see before, like limits and things like that. We also look at the integration of functions, so antiderivatives of functions will be very important. That will go a few steps further than you have seen on high school. And finally, a topic that is very important in engineering is the study of differential equations. Those are equations in which a function is playing a role, but not only the function, also its derivative, and maybe its second derivative or third derivative. Solving differential equations is one of the key applications of mathematics in engineering. And finally, there is also a very small topic which actually is not part of calculus, but of linear algebra, and that's the computation with vectors in 2 and 3 dimensions. That will be a part that you will see right at the beginning of the course, and it's very useful for many applications, but it's not really part of calculus. But anyway, we have to treat it because you as an engineer will really have to use these tools to solve all the problems you encounter in your other studies. Well, calculus comes in 3 flavors. There is variant 1, variant 2 and variant 3. Variant 1 is application oriented, and it's the variant that aims at students from industrial design and from architecture. Then the mainstream is variant 2, and that's for almost all the other departments. Students from all those departments that are in the mainstream, like chemistry, like electrical engineering, like computer science, they do the mainstream of calculus, and that's variant 2. And finally, we have a fundamental version of calculus, and that aims at students that do want to go a little bit further into the mathematics. And those are the students from the mathematics department and the physics department. Okay, so this is a description of the 3 variants. Now let's go to the study material that we are using. Actually, the main source of information for you is still a classical book. For variant 1, it's a book by Smith and Minton. For variant 2, it's a book by Adams. We refer to these books as Smith and Minton and Adams. These books, they contain a lot of material, more than we can cover in the course. But we will give you at least the hints and the pages and the sections that we will be dealing with. So the main reference for the mathematics will be the book. But as we are going online, we also have a lot of resources online. And you can all find them in Canvas. Canvas is the learning management system used by the TUE, and for all your courses you will use Canvas. But also for our course Calculus, Canvas is really very important. There you find all the information on lectures, on tutor hours, on study material, the weekly schedules, the homework you have to do. You will find there online tests, online practice material, recordings of videos, new videos covering small topics, and all of this. Also, every announcement that we will make, it will be available in Canvas. We will mail announcements to you, so you have to check your email regularly, but you can also find all our announcements in Canvas. So that's a very important part. But in Canvas, you find all of this, and that's a lot. So you really have to be very comfortable with using Canvas. For that, we have created a section on manuals. Please look at that. I know reading a manual is not something that people do very easily, and most people just skip that. But if you really want to use Canvas in the right way and use all the tools that we give to you for doing mathematics in the right and easy way, look at all these manuals. It's very important that you know how to use tools in doing online quizzes, that you know how to submit your homework, that you know where to look for announcements. So again, please look at the manuals we offer you in Canvas. Then let's go to the learning activities. As I said before, everything will be online. That means we will have all our activities online. In particular, we will have our lectures online. We offer recordings of lectures of previous years to you. We offer videos on specified topics to you, but we also offer you a live lecture, but then online. Every week we offer you 4 hours of lecturing in the first part of the week and in the second part of the week. In the first lecture of a week, we want to introduce you to the new topics of that week, and we want to set the goals of that week. We want to motivate you. We want to give you the examples that might inspire you to work on it. So that first part will be there to really get you starting on the new topics. Then at the end of the week, there is a second lecture, and in that lecture we will go more into the details. You will have the opportunity to raise questions. You can raise questions during lectures, but you can also already put your lectures online before the lectures start, so that a teacher can really see what are the questions that the students have. And then in that second lecture, the teacher can go much more into the details of these questions and help you. In that second lecture, the level will be on the level of the exam exercises. Of course, in the first lecture, we have to introduce you and we have to start easy and then make it more hard on the way. But at the second lecture, we can go to the examples and the questions that are on exam level. Then there is a second activity. There is a 1 hour tutor hour every week. And that is, as I already told you, also online. This online tutor hour is an hour where you, together with 7-8 other students, talk about the problems of the week under the guidance of a tutor. This tutor is there to really guide you through the topic and not to do the work for you. You, as a student, have to be active during those tutor hours. You have to come up with the questions. You have to listen to your fellow students, listen to their questions, and together you should create new ideas how to solve the questions of you or your fellow students. It's very important that you are there and be active. Even if you know all the answers already to exercises, you are still there to explain them maybe to your fellow students. And that's a very difficult thing to do, but it's also a thing that helps you a lot in mastering the material. Listening to others is of course very helpful, but explaining things to others or thinking together with others, that's where you really learn to do mathematics. And that's also why we think this tutor hour is a really very important part of our course. And therefore we say this is really obligatory to participate in these tutor hours. That means that we have organized 5 hours for you during every week. 4 hours of lecturing in which you can participate, mainly listen, raise some questions, but that's not so very active participation from you. And then a very active participation in the tutor hour. But that is only 5 hours a week. The course, Calculus, has 28 study points, which means about 140 hours of work. And that's spread out over the 10 weeks, 8 weeks of lecturing, 2 weeks of exams. That means you have to work 14 hours a week on average on this course. So, having 5 hours organized by us leaves 9 hours for you. And there you really have to study by yourself or maybe in small groups of students. What do you have to do during those 9 hours? Well, a lot. Think of it. 9 hours is maybe one afternoon and one evening. So that's a lot of time. And you can do a lot. You can, of course, study the material from the book. You can watch recordings of lectures of previous years. You can watch videos on specified topics. But that's quite inactive way. More actively is you have to do your homework. You have to do exercises. And those are written exercises as well as exercises that are online. You get written homework every week. You have to submit that online. A manual how to do that is available. But you also have to do exercises and tests. I will come back to that later. We will provide you with a weekly test that also is part of your final grade. So it's very important that you are active during the week. Realize that mathematics at high school was 4 hours maybe of lecturing or being in class, but outside of that, not too much. I explained you what you have to do during your self-study. So there's one more thing I want to discuss, and that's the examination. Of course, for you, it's important that you pass the course in the end. Well, our examination consists of 4 parts. Already in the first week, there is the STAR test. This test will be on Thursday in the first week. Check Canvas on which time you have to do that test. That test is a test of 22 multiple choice questions, and it is focusing on high school material, especially on the algebraic skills. This STAR test will account for 10% of your final grade. But there is a good thing. If you have a score of 7.0 or higher, we just count it as a full score of 10 over 10. So you get the full 10% is a complete point for your final grade. If you have a less than a 7, well, then you get only the percentage, the 10% percentage. So a 5 would mean half a point for your final grade. Why do we do that? Well, we think having a 7 is a good indication that you're ready for our calculus course. If you score less, you should work to improve. And you can improve that by working hard and redo the STAR test at the end of the term so that you get more than a 7 and get this full point of credit. Then, the second test that we have is a midterm test. This midterm test is in week 5. It's a 1-hour test, written test. We will do it online now. You will see how that works. But it also accounts for 10%. Here, there's no extra rule and you cannot retake that test. Then, every week, starting in week 2 up till week 7, we have an online test. Well, we used to call it an online test because the other tests were not online. But this is a test where you are graded right at the spot. So you do exercises, you have to fill in answers online. The system will automatically create it and you will see directly whether your answer is correct or wrong. There are about 10, 15 to 20 exercises in each test, in total 100 exercises, and it accounts for 10%. But the good thing of this weekly tests is that you have 10 days roughly of time to do the test. So that's all the time that you have, a lot of time. And you can redo every exercise as often as you want. Every time it's generated by the system with new parameters. So for example, the first time you could get what is 5 plus 6? Well, you redo the exercises and then the question will be what is 4 plus 8? It's randomized. But every time you can do this exercise and you can do it as often so that at the end you get a 100% score there. The final score is just the last exercise that you did. So if you have it 5 times correct and then the last time, the 6th time wrong, it accounts for 0 points. But of course you should do it the other way around. Maybe fail 1 or 2 times, but then the last time you have the correct answer. That's the weekly test. So there are 100 questions, again 10%. So we have 10% STAR test, 10% midterm, 10% the weekly tests. And then we have a final exam, which is in week 9 or 10. And that's a written test. Again, we will do it online, but it's written. It consists of a few multiple choice exercises and a few open exercises. And this test accounts for the 70% that are remaining. There's one restriction on that test. You really have to have more or equal than a 5.0. That means even if the average point of everything would be a 6 or higher, you will fail the course if the grade for the final test is a 4.9. But having at least a 5.0, having the 30%, getting the 70% together will give you then maybe a complete grade for the full course.